Hello everyone, welcome to BayernNow, the ultimate Bayern Munich fan channel. Yes, this is a Vincent Kompany appreciation video because someone has to make one. Don't you know? We're Bayern Munich. Whatever we accomplish gets disregarded by the wider footballing world. When we win, it's, oh, you're in a farmers league. You're supposed to win. And when we lose, how could you lose? You're Bayern Munich. You're in a farmers league. You're supposed to win. Damned if we do, damned if we don't. So, Vincent Kompany is one of the best coaches in the world at the moment. The man has transformed Bayern Munich completely. Just take a look at some of these records. Bayern are the first club in Europe's top 5 leagues to win 10 games in a row. 10 games, not go unbeaten like you get a draw in between this. No, you win every single match. Super Cup against Stuttgart, 2-1. First league game against Leipzig, 6-0. DFB Pokal against whoever that is, 3-2. It was actually a more dominant performance than this. I think in the second half we conceded twice. Augsburg, away, 3-2. And then we just went on a run. Hamburg, at home, 5-0. Hamburger, or as Cal Freezy would say, hamburger. Chelsea at home, 3-1. Hoffenheim, 4-1. Werder Bremen, 4-0. Paphos, 5-1. Frankfurt, which yesterday was it was a tough game. It was an uncomfortable game in many different phases because Frankfurt wanted to come back. They scored and equalized, but it was ruled off because of the handball. If they scored that, it could have been a really close game. 3-0. Kompany is doing this. And it's not just the results that count. It's the play style and the manner in which we're achieving these results. Kompany has allowed these Bayern players, who a lot of people wrote off, to have a new lease, to play at a top club. Gnabry should not be here, yet here we are appreciating his performances. Kompany has transformed certain players' careers. Konrad Laimer is now arguably one of the best right backs in Europe. So much so, Kompany is giving him the license to play left back because of how useful he is. I mean, Tuchel did play him there too, but my point is, Kompany has taken these players to a new level. Kompany's first season at Bayern was tough because we all knew Bayern wanted Hansi Flick. Well, people at Bayern wanted him. Some other people didn't. Flick ended up at Barcelona, and Bayern got rejected by Xabi Alonso, who then ended up at Real Madrid. So we were kind of stranded with no coach. So Bayern had to be creative. Max Eberl said, let's go and get Kompany. Apparently, Pep Guardiola gave Bayern that advice to go after Kompany. And if that's the case, then thank you, Pep. We took a huge risk, a huge gamble. We paid a lot of money to Burnley, got Kompany out to the Allianz Arena. Burnley fans were celebrating. Well, you know, it's kind of like one of those situations where your mask is you smiling, but behind the mask is you crying. Because I think Burnley fans would have preferred if he stayed. Now, you know, they might be looking at it like, oh, you know what, we don't mind because we're back in the Prem. Whatever. Kompany came to us. First season, one of the major issues with him was lack of rotation. He just played the same team over and over again. He wouldn't rotate. He wouldn't incorporate young players. So some people were saying Tuchel did more in terms of youth development than Kompany, and Kompany was supposed to be the progressive coach. So it was kind of annoying. And now, on to this season. Even in the first season, by the way, we showed great glimpses of Kompany's ball. Beautiful, passing patterns and great goals. We scored well. Now, of course, move on to this year, and everything seemed like it came together. Kompany is now striking that balance between consistent, players playing, but also introducing different players in different positions. And suddenly, everyone is happy. Goretzka gets some games, and we're not angry over it. because Bischoff is also getting to play. Everyone is playing. And Kompany is managing to get the best out of every player while three key players, or two, if you add Ito in there, that's three. But Musiala and Davies have long-term injuries. These are critical players to how we play. Yet we're playing very well. We dispatched Chelsea in a very professional manner. We didn't look bad at any moment. And Kompany tactically outclassed Maresca. He had Kane and Gnabry creating so many overloads in the midfield. Chelsea just didn't know what to do. And I think we're starting to get like Kompany ball in all its essence. Everyone is playing in their best position in the best way they know how. Olise is unlocking defenses while not bothering to do too much and strain his legs trying to dribble. He's just standing in front of defenders, and there's runners because of the system. Olise can't play like that at Manchester United because the system doesn't allow for it. It's Kompany's system that's allowing every player to show their best skill set. Harry Kane is dropping deeper and unlocking defenses and freeing his wingers with long passes, playing as a number 6 half the times, while also getting on the end of crosses and scoring goals, scoring beautiful goals outside the box, in the box, everything. This guy can finish. That's why his wife has 4 kids. But every single player at Bayern is showing their best skill set in a compendious manner where it works for the team. You don't see one player shining, but then others are sucking. Man, it's just so good to watch. Let's look at some other things with Kompany. This is a statement he made recently that I just loved. He said he's not interested in praise for his person. I always say that I deal with praise the same way I deal with criticism. I don't overreact. I just want to keep things going. What's important for me now is the next game against Dortmund on the 18th of October. Of course, I'm happy with this win because it's not easy, but everything around it is not a priority for me. The goal of Lucho Diaz today, it wasn't Vincent Kompany who scored it. It was the quality of the player. The same goes for Harry Kane. When the quality and the mentality are there, we can achieve a lot. That's amazing. Tuchel would have been like, yeah, man. Tuchel would have been loving it. And what I like about Kompany is he does truly protect his players. I mean, Tuchel criticized Kim and Jay. I mean, I'm allowed to criticize Kim because I'm a stupid fan channel. But you have your manager cussing you out in front of the world. That's a pretty bad look. So, yeah, I mean, this demonstrates that Kompany is deliberately trying to shield himself from praise and just divert it to the players. And you can tell the players are playing for him, right? Look at this. Bayern have scored 25 goals after 6 match days, a new Bundesliga record. Bayern have won. Dude, it feels like, to be honest, in some way, every coach hits like a record. Yeah, even the coaches that end up sucking, they always, it's like Bayern always get better. And we don't get credit for this, but look at Juventus. They dominated Serie A for so many years, almost as long as we did the Bundesliga, and they just fell off. And now they're just like a second-tier club, whereas we have kept our dominance, we have kept our revenue-making machine, we have kept our, stadium quality. Like, we have kept dominating, and we should be credited for that, not insulted and disparaged. Bayern have won 8 Bundesliga games in a row for the first time since 2020. 2020, you say, huh? Bayern haven't lost any of their 12 Bundesliga away games in 2020. Really? Really? Okay, I'm sure there's a draw in there, but wow, we haven't lost at all. So you're saying we've lost at home but not away? Allianz Arena might not be the fortress I was thinking. So, yeah, I love what Kompany is doing at this club. I think it's unfortunate that he's doing it at Bayern, because if he was doing it anywhere else, he would be getting the Best Club of the Year award next year, I mean, to go 12 months almost with no losses away is pretty crazy in the league, especially given the fact that away games are usually where our teams lose and draw a lot. So Kompany is performing magic. And this is the key. The reason why it's special is because we don't have that much more quality than we did in 2020. You know, people can. I think Kane to me is better than Robert Lewandowski, right, in terms of just his completeness. But Lewandowski was still a world-class striker in 2020, right? So striker position pretty much evenly matched from that year. Our midfield was certainly better that year. Our defense, you know, we had a very hybrid system. We had a very free-flowing attacking style, you know, and we had Davies in his prime. You know, we had a lot of things going our way. You know, Gnabry and Coman were in top form. We had a lot go our way in 2020, whereas like in 2025, we lost Thiago, so we don't have that outlet in the midfield. You know, we have a lot of injuries we're dealing with. Yet somehow we're performing beautifully. We're playing immaculately, and we're composed defensively. We don't concede that much. I mean, when we concede, it's really annoying because it feels like it's always avoidable. But we, you know, relatively speaking, just don't concede that much. It just feels like we do because sometimes that counterattack looks worse than it is. Look at the game against Chelsea. You know, that goal, we concede that goal every game or every other game. Like that counterattack where it's always a counterattack because of how long we have the ball. So when we concede, it feels like a really big deal. But compared to like a Man United or they're not even a big club, or Liverpool, we don't concede that much. So that's something I think Kompany deserves credit for. Our defenders seem a little more composed. I mean, Upamecano looked like he was going to lose his mind in the Frankfurt game in the first 20 minutes, and then he just collected it together because his teammates were able to keep their minds together. And then Upa finished the game excellently. And that's how you're supposed to play. One guy's mistake can't kill you. Look at the game against Man City where Upa just lost his mind, and then it just felt like no one else, you know, was locked in and switched on that day. Yeah, one player can make a mistake, but if more than one player starts making mistakes, that's a system problem. And that's what we had under Tuchel. And now you still have Tuchel fans that, you know, are still doubting where Kompany's taking the club, which is weird to me. But it's just, you know, it's clear that we are playing on a different level under Vincent Kompany than we were under Thomas Tuchel. And under Nagelsmann as well, we're playing way better than we did. You know, Tuchel and Nagelsmann were similar, as in they were both very versatile coaches who tried to change how we played based on the opponent. They were adaptive coaches, which is fine if you're a club fighting for top four because you have a coach that isn't willing to just play one way and lose. But when you're a top club, you have to impose yourself on other clubs, even the other top clubs. You have to try. And that's what separates great clubs from good clubs. Dortmund is a good club, but they're not a great club. They can't do what Bayern do every single season. Do you know how hard it is to be excited and competitive every single game you play? Do you know how tough it is to get players that have won everything to give it their all? Look how we press. Look how Kane comes back to defend. Look how everyone plays. It's not easy. The way Bayern get disregarded for winning a lot is crazy to me because it's not easy to win a lot. You know how tough it is to get your mind to reset from the glories from before? Look how many empires fall because they get complacent. You know, the Roman Empire had everything. They were supposed to be one of the last empires of the world, lasting thousands of years. Yet, after they gained all the power and geographical control and territorial integrity, they decided to be complacent. You know, and that's where the whole good men create great times create weak men create bad times. That's where that comes from. With Bayern, it seems like we're just not intending on falling anytime soon. We're always adding more fuel to the fire. We're always getting better, whether it's getting a coach that makes us different. How many clubs would have just been like, all right, let's stick with Tuchel for another year? No, the Bayern board said, no, we're going to try something different. And we got rid of Tuchel and we brought Kompany in. That's what we're about. That's why we win so much. We don't settle for, oh, we got second and we were only 2 points off. We want the best. And sometimes it feels like, we're losing a little bit of ambition, but the club reminds us that they still have that ambition by spending $75 million on Luis Diaz after we get rejected by 50 players. Now, if we go and win the Champions League, how dumb are those players going to look? How dumb is Nico Williams going to look when Bayern are lifting a Champions League trophy? How dumb will they look? Because they'll be thinking, gosh, I could have been part of that. So that's the thing with Bayern. It should be credited that we dominate so well. Because if we were in the Prem, we'd be doing the same thing. We'd be basically Man City. We would have way more money, and we would just have the same mentality, and we'd be winning way more. So, yeah, credit to Vincent Kompany. We have an identity. And look, it's up to the coach to give the players a play style, and then the players' representation of what the coach has given them is the identity. It's not that the coach says, oh, guys, we're an attacking team. No. He coaches them to attack. He coaches them to keep the ball a lot. And he says, hey, these are non-negotiables. And then the players' implementation of that is the culture and identity of the club. It's not that, Barcelona, when they were known for tiki-taka, were like, hey, guys, we're going to be like doing triangles. No, they were coached on doing triangles. Then they did it. Then they were known for that. Under Kompany, Bayern were known for having at least 5 players in every attacking line. Kane right there, and then our number 10 next to him in the other half space, and then Olise out wide and Luis Diaz out wide, and then if we need midfield domination, Kane and Gnabry or Musiala. This is the beauty of it. We know that after switching someone out, whoever we bring in is not going to deviate too much from what the other guy was doing. They're still going to be picking up the same spots. And that's the sign of a system being much more important than the players in it. And that is what Kompany has implemented at Bayern. We finally have a system we can rely on so that when we bring a player off the bench, they know exactly what they're doing. It's not different from the player they're replacing, right? They come in and they're going to be picking up these spots, and that's why we can switch our entire midfield out, put Bischoff and Goretzka, and it would still feel like Bayern because the players just have the same responsibilities. And that's what a system is. A system is just an environment for the players to show themselves to be capable of playing for Bayern. So anyways, I feel like I'm yapping. It's been 18 minutes, and I could talk about Kompany forever and what I'm impressed by. There aren't really negatives to talk about with Vincent Kompany, which is a great thing. We just have positives, to be honest. And I'm excited. I'm excited to see where he takes the club. And if we end up doing it all this season, that would be something special. To be honest, if we get to a semifinal, or at least if we get to the final, I feel like we have enough quality to get to a final. Because the thing is, before we get our injuries late in the season, this time around it feels like the players we have, a lot of them are resistant to injuries, and we have players that are injured now, so they're going to be back when the critical point in our season comes around. So we're not going to have to make makeshift left backs. We'll have Davies, we'll have Musiala back, and we'll hope that we don't get any more future injuries. These international breaks don't suck the players' fitness levels away. That's our hope. And then we're also doing a winter camp, so we're going to be in Qatar, I think, in warm weather, training for a week or two before going back in for the new year. Bayern players are going to be well rested, well intentioned for the rest of the season, and they might get that new zeal again to perform well. And that's all we need. All we need for Kompany to give us is a magnificent finish in a Champions League final. I would love to see us win it. 2020 still has an asterisk over it because there was no one in the stadium to witness. you know, because of that scam that took over the world and everyone shut down for whatever reason. You know, and now looking back, it's like, why did they stop fans from going to the games? You know, like there was no reason to. So, yeah, I want to see Kompany win that trophy. It would be crazy if he was the guy to do it. And then Kane would win his Ballon d'Or, especially if England go to at least the semifinals of the World Cup. Kane would win a Ballon d'Or, and to me, I'd love to see that man win it because Kane is the first player I like as a person. Well, one of the first players I like as a person. He's a family man. He doesn't go out and party and do all this stuff. There's no drama. He's just professional. He's not going to ever force his way out of Bayern. If he wants to leave, he'll let us know and we'll sell him. I want to see the guy win so bad. If he wins the Champions League at Bayern, it would mean more to me seeing him win it than just win it. Thank you ever so much for watching. Mia and peace.